Okay, let's do a quick video for this worksheet for Algebra 2, solving inequalities. And just real quick, I did go ahead and solve this one. Remember, if this is strictly greater than or less than, okay, it's not or equal to, this point will be open. And when you shade in your arrow, make sure you also shade in the arrow so it shows on it keeps going on forever. So make sure when we grade this, I can see your arrow. Now, not only do you have to solve this, and you can see the inequality right here, I wanted to remind you that when you divide by a negative, you have to flip that inequality sign. So some of you may have forgotten that, so be really careful there. If you divide by a negative, you got to flip that sign. You also have to write this in inequality notation. So again, if it's an open point, it's going to be a parenthesis because you don't include 3, you just get really close to 3. And then anytime you have infinity or negative infinity, it's always going to be a parenthesis because you're never going to get there. Just like you're never going to really get to 3. You can always get just a little bit closer. Okay, I want to work just a couple for you because they get tricky. I want to make sure that when you rewrite these, you always put the variable, the letter on the left. Okay, so I'm going to do number 4 real quick, and then I'm going to do number 18. And notice here, when I get ready to solve this, I've got 9 here. So typically, I don't care which one you do, but if I move this 9 to the other side, you can see I got negative 15 is greater than 5n. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So you have negative 3 is greater than n. Now that's just fine, but typically you won't see that. Usually you're going to see the variable here on the left. If you move it to the other side, you got to move your sign. So it was a greater than sign, so it's going to be a less than sign. Okay, notice it's still a negative 3. Nothing's changed, but you see how the little tiny point is pointing to the end? The little tiny point is still pointing to the end. So rewrite it with your variable on the left, okay? When you graph it, let me graph this real quick. 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, here's like negative 3. Yeah, I'm looking through my, I guess negative 3 is right here. 1, 2, 3, whatever. It's going to be an open point, okay, because it's strictly less than. If it was or equal to, I would fill it in. And I want all numbers less than that, so I'm going to shade in this and then shade in my arrow, okay, because that goes on forever and ever. There is no stopping. So I'm going to count it wrong this week if you don't remember to shade in your arrow. Okay, so be careful with that. All right. Oh, interval notation. That's going down negative infinity to negative 3. Parenthesis, because that's an open point. So very similar to number 1, actually. All right. Let's try this one. 18 was a little bit more involved, so I'm going to get what? Negative 6 minus 12x. Just distribute your negative 6 in there. That's going to give me 12x minus 6 plus 2x. Okay. I really hate to do another step, but I will. 12x and 2x is what? 14x minus 6. I usually like to keep everything positive, but it doesn't matter. You can move this over here or that over there. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead because I want to review what happens when you are going to have a negative. So I'm going to move him over here. So I'm going to move my 14x over here. It's a positive 14x, so I'm going to subtract 14x. So you can see this right here gives me a negative 26x. Okay, I'm going to add 6 to both sides, and that gives me 0. Okay, there's nothing wrong with 0. Don't let that freak you out. Here's what I want you to be careful of. When you divide both sides by negative 26, you've got to flip that sign. It's greater than or equal to. Now it's going to be less than or equal to. And 0 divided by who cares is 0. So this is your answer right here. If you would graph this, so funny that everything I've done is less than. Here's 0. It's going to be a filled in point because it's or equal to, and it's going to the left. Okay, make sure you shade in your arrow so it looks just like that. And my interval notation is negative infinity to 0, but now I have a bracket because it has the or equal to, which means I can use 0. So you need all 3 answers on these. Okay, very neat.